Ghosts ain't always the rattling chain kind, friend. Sometimes they just knock 3 hard raps on a December night so cold it'll freeze the spit in your mouth whisper. And when you open the door, it's your dead wife's face staring back, blood soaking through a silk dress finer than anything this ranch will ever see. That's how she found me. Wyoming winter cutting like a razor, snow piling up past the fence posts, and me dreaming about Sarah, my wife, 6 years in the ground by then pause. I was dreaming about our wedding day when the knocking started, sudden inhale. Sharp, desperate, real enough to jolt me out of that memory faster than a rattlesnake strike. I stumbled to the door in my long johns and boots, lamp in one hand, expecting maybe a drifter caught in the storm pause. Opened it up and there she was. Sarah's face, Sarah's eyes, Sarah's hands shaking in the freezing air. For a heartbeat I thought the whiskey had finally rotted my brain, nervous laugh. Or maybe God decided to play the cruelest joke he could think of. But it wasn't Sarah. It was her twin sister Anna, a woman I'd only heard about in letters, standing on my porch with bruises around her throat like a necklace of purple flowers whisper. Terror in those familiar blue eyes. Her lips were blue with cold. She looked past me into the dark like it was already inside the house and whispered, he's coming for me. She told me her name was Anna, but for 3 days I couldn't stop calling her Sarah in my head pause. Couldn't help it. Same red-brown hair that used to catch the sun on Sunday mornings. Same way of cupping a tin mug in both hands like the heat might run out before she finished smile. Even the way she moved through my cabin. Hell, it was like watching my wife come back from the dead and rearrange my bachelor mess into something resembling a home. But the bruises, Christ, the bruises told a different story. I'd worn the star down in Texas. I knew the shape a man's fingers leave when he's trying to choke the life out of someone smaller than him anger. Split lip still healing, fingerprints on her throat where someone had squeezed hard enough to leave marks for weeks. Burns on her wrists that looked like rope, or maybe wire. Third night by the fire, she finally rolled up her sleeves, and I saw the road map of her marriage scars, running up both forearms like railroad tracks leading straight to hell silence. His name is Marcus Kane, she said, staring into the flames. He owns half of Chicago's freight lines, ships, trains, warehouses. More money than God and twice as mean. The wind rattled the shutters hard enough to wake the dead pause, like it didn't have anything better to do than remind a man he's alone. Started with a slap when dinner was cold. She continued whispering, voice steady like she'd rehearsed this confession 1,000 times. Then a shove when I spoke too freely in front of his business partners. Then locked doors, servants watching, threats against anyone who tried to help. She dragged Sarah's old quilt tighter around her shoulders. Pause. I should have taken it back, should have protected the memory, but something in me wouldn't. Anna needed it more than my grief did. He killed someone, she whispered. A young maid pushed down the stairs for trying to slip her a letter from an old friend. When Anna confronted him, he nearly finished what he started. Then she told me what she'd done, drugged his whiskey with laudanum, cleaned out his safe, and ran smirk. Leather journal in her satchel full of evidence like a sinner's cookbook. Names, dates, payments, bribes. He'll come looking, I said. Wasn't a question. Yes. Those blue eyes, Sarah's eyes, met mine. Marcus doesn't like losing his possessions. No man has the right to put his hands on a woman in anger. I told her she could stay as long as she needed. Silence stretched so long I thought she'd fallen asleep, but when I turned back, pause, tears streamed down her face. January bled into February. Snow turned to slop. Somewhere along the line I stopped flinching when she brushed past me in the kitchen. Anna proved herself more capable than I ever expected. While I tended the herd, she transformed my cabin. Meals that didn't taste like boot leather smile. Stitches so fine they were nearly invisible, humming old songs like memories stitched into melody. But the evenings, those tested me. Anna in Sarah's old rocking chair, lamplight catching gold in her auburn hair, reading from a Chicago book in a voice that painted distant worlds. Wyoming wind howling outside like all the lonely ghosts in the territory were having a convention laugh softly. One night the fire burned low. The whiskey tasted like forgiveness pause. I carried her to bed, both of us pretending we didn't feel the ghost watching in the corner. Outside, horses. Distant. Getting closer. Marcus Kane rode into Laramie like he owned it, gritted teeth. Within an hour, he damn near did. My neighbor Tom Morrison brought the news at dawn, rich man from back east asking questions, legal documents in hand, sheriff already counting the bribe money, court orders, medical papers, asylum claims anger. Anna's face drained of color. He's going to lock me away, she choked out. One of those places no one comes back from, over my dead body. Tom looked us both over, jaw set. Then you've got a problem, friend. Anna stepped forward, voice trembling but steel underneath. Then we fight. We fight, I agreed, serious. And noon came. They came under a hard noon sun, glare bouncing off the snow till a man could barely see. I'd spent days preparing, moved cattle, checked ammunition, hid Anna in the root cellar whisper. Morning before they arrived, she'd grabbed my face, eyes burning. Come back to me, she said. I kissed her like a man drowning grips air and felt Sarah's ring pressed into my palm like a promise and a curse at the same time. Kane rode at the front, perfect teeth, perfect hair, perfect monster paws. Sheriff Williams beside him, and 4 hired guns behind. Men who wore their pistols like extensions of their bones. I believe you have something that belongs to me, Kane called. I don't see it that way, I said, hand resting easy on my Colt low. He talked like money made him holy, like papers made him right, like bruises didn't bleed. Claimed Anna was unstable, delusional, dangerous. Said he could have me arrested, laughs once. You could try. One of his men twitched toward his weapon and my Winchester roared before he even cleared leather boom. Dust exploded at his horse's hooves. Everyone froze. Heartbeats were thunder. That was a warning, I said. Next one ain't. Then the door creaked, pause. Anna stepped out, Colt in her hands, quilt on her shoulders like armor, murder in her eyes. Well, Marcus, you found me, happy now. What followed wasn't gunfire. It was truth more deadly. Anna laid out every sin he'd committed, journal in hand like a scripture of suffering whisper. Every bribe, every threat, every forged signature, even the murder. Kane unraveled, called her names unfit for a graveyard. My rifle snapped to his heart like instinct. Sheriff went pale. Hired guns shifted, some ashamed. This is Wyoming territory, Anna said, voice ringing like church bells. We don't belong to you, not body, not mind, not soul. Not anymore. Kane looked around, no allies left. This isn't over, he hissed. It's done, she replied, flat, final, a gravestone sentence. Pause. They rode away. No shootout, no heroic charge, just defeat. Sometimes victory ain't loud. Weeks later, federal marshals arrived. Not for Anna, for him smile. Her journal burned through Marcus Kane's empire like wildfire. Charges in 3 states. Friends vanished like morning frost. Money stopped talking when the law came calling. Pause. Spring came early that year. Anna's bruises faded into freckles. She learned to shoot, to ride, to live. She wore Sarah's old dress but made it her own smile. She didn't replace Sarah, she didn't try. She honored her ghost without becoming it. One evening, watching the Mustang settle under my touch, Anna joined me. Thinking hard thoughts, she asked. Thinking how far we've come, I said, wrapping an arm around her, feeling home happen in real time. Sarah would have liked seeing you happy again, she whispered. Sarah would have liked you, I replied. But you, smile, you taught me the difference between surviving and living. Sunset painted the mountains blood and gold. I remembered that December knock, that ghost, that choice. Was it the right choice? Long pause. Hell, stranger. I don't. Voice cracks, fades to a whisper. I don't know. Pause, but I reckon I'd make it again.